The following podcast series was recorded between January and December of 2015. Originally hosted on the Horophilia Podcast Network, it is now transitioned to the Podcast Under the Stairs Collective. Myself and Andy Blockley would like to extend our gratitude once again to Jason Lloyd at the Horophilia Podcast Network for giving this podcast an opportunity to stay on that network for a couple of years and accumulate hundreds of downloads and great communication with legions of fans. The next instalment of the Doing the Nasty podcast, looking at the DPP third tier movie list, will start January 2020. Duncan McLeish will be joined by Mark Ball, who will be replacing Andy Blockley on this podcast, and will release one episode each month covering two films from the Tier 3 DPP Video Nasty list. But until that season drops, please enjoy these archives.
Nasty.
They were called Nasties, and they were nasty.
Some of the things that we've seen are so horrific.
These films not only affect young people, but I believe they affect adults as well.
An extravaganza of gory violence capable of depraving and corrupting those who watched it.
I have never seen a video nasty. I wouldn't. I actually don't need to see what I know is in that film.
Hi everyone and welcome to Doing the Nasty Podcast, episode number 9. I am one of your hosts, Duncan McLeish from the Podcast Under the Stairs. I'm joined as always by the co-host with the most, the man behind the Big Horror and Little Podcast is of course Andy Blockley. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, how you doing, mate? Pretty good. Ready for our rape-a-thon this evening?
Oh my god, you know what? We've been bitching and moaning that we would love to get through an episode where there is no rape.
Yeah.
And I think we've been moaning that much that the gods have seen fit to stack up an episode where every single movie has rape.
It's mental. It's just normalising rape to a bit too much, I think, these video nasties.
I'll tell you the one thing
course, really, isn't it now?
I think the one thing that kind of strengthens things, and we'll get into it later on, is, yeah, there's rape in House on the Edge of the Park. There is rape, certainly in Island of Death, but I think they pale in comparison. It's, you know, like we see these things, we've seen them in every movie. See, when you watch I Spit in Your Grave, that's rape. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah. I kind of forgot how fucking vicious that was, and that was one of those sobering moments when you kind of realise that you can have all the sense of humour in the world with these things, but when you see that movie, there is, kind of hate humanity after it.
Yeah, well, it's the first time I've watched the rapes in its entirety, because I normally just fast forward through it because I'm
Oh, really?
To watch it. Yeah, so this is the first time, and like I said last week, I got the uncut version.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is that much longer, to be honest. It's probably 20 seconds or something, but yeah, it's the first time I sat through it, and I actually timed her ordeal from start to finish. I'll tell you how long it was when we get into the review.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking graphic.
Yeah.
However, before getting all doom and gloom and somber and rapey, let's acknowledge the fact that this is episode number 9. What you been up to?
Well, what I've been up to? I've not been watching a lot of horror, to be honest. I've been saving up Blu-rays on the shelf.
Same as me.
Yeah, looking forward to watching them. And what have I been watching? We've started watching Gotham.
Oh, right, how's that?
It's all right, actually. It's pretty good, yeah. I quite like it. It was where we were having a discussion last night where we kind of couldn't work out what time period it was set in.
Oh, right.
So Rach went online, and you'll have to go and check it out. Like the response that the guy that does the show gave to what time period it's in, I think he just plucked it out of his arse. He clearly he'd not thought it through, just going, it's it's my past, it's your past, it's your grandma's past. It's like, what?
Oh, slap that man in the face.
He should have just said, look, it's pretty timeless. Like, there's certain aspects of certain kind of time periods. Like, there's nothing in it like mobile phones or anything that will particularly give it away. Like clothes styling and stuff. Oh, I've just been told there is.
There's mobiles, but then there's 1940s clothes.
Oh, there you go.
And then there's 80s cars.
Right, yeah, so it is a bit of a mishmash. And then like the explanation that the guy gives, that was my wife, by the way, if anyone's wondering. I've not just
Hi, Rachel.
I've not gone all dressed to kill. There's no...
Oh, hello there, Mr. Doctor. This is Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
You're like you're Michael Caine. That's a huge spoiler.
Actually watched that the other day. That's something else.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. I fucking love that movie. It's fucking De Palma at his most fucking grimy and sleazy. I love it.
That's cool. And so anyway, Gotham, yeah, it's pretty good. I really like kind of where it's going, to be honest, because I didn't really fancy it, and we just sort of watched the first episode, and yeah, I kind of like what it's doing with all the characters. It's like introducing them all. The Penguin's kind of the best thing in it at the minute, but they've not really introduced everyone. I don't know where it's going to go, because Batman's like quite a small child. Well, he's about 12 or something in it. Bruce Wayne. I don't know where the Joker and stuff's going to come in. I think I don't know if it's on its second season. We're only about 4 episodes in. But obviously I don't want to look into it too much because I don't want any spoilers. So yeah, I've been watching that and I'm really enjoying it. What about you?
Well, I'm kind of similar boat to you. I haven't actually been watching that much. I did get the opportunity to appear on one of our listeners' shows. Mike Murphy from the Badasses, Boobs and Body Counts podcast invited me over,
cool.
which was a lot of fun. I know he listens to the show religiously. He's one of the first people to finish the episode of the show. You know, like literally just gets posted and he's listened to it. And we discussed a movie called Chatterbox from 1977.
You told me, you messaged me about that. I'm going to download that episode then and get that listed.
Oh my god! So it's basically about a woman whose fanny can talk and sing. Now, for our American listeners, fanny means something different over here. It means the lady parts at the front and not at the back.
Yeah. Front bum, back bum.
Yeah, and it sings and talks, and it gets called Virginia. See what they did there?
Play on words. Clever.
Yeah. It's fucking. Oh my god! It's a terrible movie.
Is it? Okay.
The boom mic appears like more than any other cast member.
Not out of the vagina.
They're like like more than the vagina. The boom mic is everywhere. It's like they're filming a sequence and then the boom mic is in the back. You can see it, and once you see it, you can't take your eyes off it. Like, why has someone not moved that from the shot? But it was funny. I laughed a lot watching that, and I had a great time on that show. So people should go over and check that. Badasses, Boobs and Body Counts. And it's the most recent episode. I got a chance to feature on it. Out with that, watching Bates Motel, season 3. Really enjoying that. I kind of fell out with Bates Motel last season.
Yeah.
I thought season 2 just meandered and went nowhere. And it kind of got to that point where I got really frustrated with it as a TV programme.
Okay.
This one, it's kind of focused itself. It's got its cards in order. It seems a lot more kind of like it's trying to set up Norman as the character we know him. So they started transitioning into more of Norman taking on the characteristics of Mother.
Okay. How many are they doing before it kind of meets up to the first, to the 60s movie? How many series?
Well, I originally heard that they talked about a 7-season story arc, and that would be it finished. But I believe that the 7th season would encompass possibly maybe 1 or 2 of the films.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because it's a bit too long to wait, isn't it, really?
Oh, God, yeah. I wouldn't watch 7 seasons of him leading up to Janet Leigh's character coming through the door. I wouldn't do it. It wouldn't be worth it for me. Very much like how Hannibal season 3, which is going to be coming like in the next couple of months.
So excited! I can't tell you.
They're basically, they're already starting to launch information about that, and the biggest part of that is Francis Dollarhide's going to be in it.
Okay, the Tooth Fairy, awesome.
Yeah, which is right. So we're in Red Dragon territory. So we already kind of know. Right, this is us now starting to cover the films properly. So I'm really excited about that. So
I'm beside myself with excitement.
Yeah, if you're going to, my thing is, if you're going to do these sort of things, if you're going to take established characters from movies and you're going to try and make them into a TV show, to me, it's the perfect vehicle to do a bit of mythology on the character, where the character came from. I mean, it's the sort of stuff that I hate when it's done in film.
Yeah.
Like, see if, for example, the Halloween remake. I hate the first half an hour of that because I don't want to see why Michael Myers is a fucked up kid. I just want Michael Myers to be a fucked up kid. So the fact he comes from to me, it was always more scarier that Michael Myers came from what looked like respectable family. And,
then there's no reason for it, is there?
Yeah, there's no reason. But then when you see Michael Myers getting beaten around by his fucking crippled stepfather who's an alcoholic and his mum's a prostitute, or sorry, a strip dancer, pole dancer.
They get funny about that, don't they, when you get the wrong one?
yeah. Andy, don't upset the pros. But
we got some. Have we got any? Yeah, come and join to let us know on the Facebook page if you're a prostitute for a living. Just
I get a feeling that we're going to get a lot of people claiming they're prostitutes.
Yeah.
Like Andy Clark will be on in a second.
He'll be straight up there.
Yeah, well, but he's in a band, and I was in a band, so technically, if you're in a band, you pretty much are a prostitute. You just don't put out at the end. So anyway, you know, that sort of thing, it defeats the purpose for me in films, but I think in the environment of TV, it's perfect because you have plenty of time to really explore a character's motivations, background, and all the rest.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I think that's what they've been doing really well in Hannibal, especially. But they're kind of hitting their stride again with Bates Motel. That TV show to me started off really strong, and like I say, season 2 just never really hit the mark for me. And then we jumped on and got the rather cool season 3, which is almost finished now, and it's doing everything right for me. So yeah, I think that's. But we got some feedback. As we always do. We found out that Bob has a fan club, which surprised you and myself equally. I believe the fan club might be just Mike Murphy.
Could be. I think there was one other one, but I don't know if that was just winding me up.
He just kept posting a picture of Bob with that blank stare, and I actually felt like Bob was crawling into my soul.
It was like the Ring coming out of you.
Samara crawling at
Sadoko,
you're crawling at your telly. Sadoku, sorry. Not Sadoko, that's the fucking game with the numbers. But yeah, so
invented by a woman called Sudoku.
What was it?
Yeah, hence Sudoku. It's not a leap of imagination, is it? But yeah, her name was Sudoku, and she invented Sudoku. So
there you go. I thought it was one of these ancient. See, she's tried to make her because her name sounds like an ancient Japanese game. She's just played off that, Andy.
I'm using
what
that.
a manipulative marketing bitch. Yeah,
good on my journeys though. So
nah. We also got a bit of feedback on the page, which I found it tickled my fancy. It made me laugh quite a bit. I thought it was very, very funny. Our good friend Vanessa, had commented about our intro, and which there is a specific audio clip that you picked as one of the more famous clips. It's up there with your Mary Whitehouse. You know, I've never seen a nasty film. You know,
don't need to. You do.
Yeah, I don't need to. Yeah, you kind of do. But they thought they had misheard the MP at the time, the Tory MP, the Conservative MP, saying that these films have an effect on dogs.
Yeah.
And we had to clarify, no, that is actually what he said. So Andy
Clark said the same thing as well. So yeah, basically, guys, you are hearing them say that it not only affects young people, but it affects dogs as well. Like Duncan said, it's the MP Graham Bright, who's now he's been knighted. He's a knight of the realm. This guy,
he's Lord Bright. Yeah, that's what he is. Yeah, because that's what happens in this country. You fail upwards. See, if you're a politician, you fail upwards. You just get promoted.
You do. The more of a knobhead you are, the more likely you are to have to kneel in front of
become a lord.
It's insane. So he basically comes on this. It's on the censorship documentary that we get a lot of our information from, and where all the clips that precede the trailers come from. And he said that scientists they're going to do research. So he's not saying that the research has been done. He's saying that the research is going to be done, and he's saying and what it will show is that it not only affects young people, but it affects dogs as well. So he's basically telling us what the outcome of the research is going to be before it's even happened. Yeah. That's point one, which just makes it ludicrous. And point two, of course that research never happened. Of course they're not testing it on dogs. It was just some of that ridiculous propaganda that was floating around. And it fucking blows my mind. And this guy, because the great thing about this documentary is I think a lot of these people that featured in the news about 20 years ago were obviously duped into doing this documentary because a lot of them stand fast on their opinions, not realise obviously not realising that the documentary is going to completely ridicule them. They've signed their release papers and it goes out because Graham Bright comes on the documentary. It shows the footage from 20 years ago of him saying that, and then it has him on again, and he completely stands by what he said. He doesn't backtrack. He doesn't say, "I know, it was of its time," and of course, there was it was all blown out of proportion. He stands by it. He thinks these video nasties are genuinely, even today, still corrupting people, and it's incredible. We'll play the clip. We've got the clip, and I'm going to play it. There's a good sort of minute or so of it, and we'll play it now.
They had this thing where they were trying to protect children, but what were they trying to protect children from? They thought the whole generation were going to become serial killers.
There's footage actually of the MP Graham Bright in the 1980s talking about research that was being done into video nasties.
I believe that research is taking place, and it will show that these films not only affect young people, but I believe they affect adults as well.
Now, the statement is clearly barking, if you will excuse the pun, but of course one of the problems, again, with what Bright is saying is that he's saying there's current research being undertaken which will prove.
And it will show.
So essentially he's saying this research is still ongoing, but I know what the outcome will be.
That these films not only affect young people, but I believe they affect adults as well.
That these video nasties will affect dogs and children detrimentally. There's also the point, of course, that this research wasn't even finished.
A report was published under the title Video Violence and Children from a group that called itself the Parliamentary Group Video Inquiry. Now that title's important. They were absolutely not a parliamentary group. They did have one or two MPs, Tim Sainsbury, for example. They did have a couple of lords, but they had no official status at all. However, calling themselves that, and indeed holding their meetings on parliamentary premises on a number of occasions, meant that they came with the imprimatur of being a parliamentary body.
Yeah, and it's just mind-blowing. So yeah, anyone else out there that thinks they're mishearing dogs, no, you're totally hearing dogs. People in Britain, MPs, now Knights of the Realm, seem to think that these films were affecting dogs. It's insane. Are your dogs affected at home, Duncan?
No, but I have two Chihuahuas, and if you photograph them a particular way, they do look like Satan anyway. So,
so they've already been. So they have been. It's true, actually. Then what he's saying is obviously right.
Yeah, it's just a crazy thing. I think that's the beauty of that documentary, like you highlight, is the fact that it shines a spotlight on the complete ridiculousness of a lot of what was behind that campaign, and it was all perpetrated by right wing media. All these like the same people that are now, that go from like thing to thing. You know what I mean? Like when they couldn't go through the movies, they then started to try and regulate music.
Okay.
And there's a lot of the reasons that, like, a lot of my CDs, like when I was like really into my music, were all a lot of heavy metal stuff and all the rest, and they all had parental advisories because that was something that they did, and it became a war on video games. And this is what these people do. They just go from one morality expedition to another. Making comments and conversations on things that they don't know and don't understand. And it's particularly poignant when we go on to talk about I Spit in Your Grave, because that one is, like, we talk about poster childs, right? And I Spit in Your Grave might not have been the front cover that was shown the most in the campaign, but I Spit in Your Grave is one of the main. It was one of the ones that had the pitchforks and the flaming torches, and the media, the right-wing media, beating on the door because of the video rapist at the time, who claimed that after seeing I Spit in Your Grave, it caused him to rape someone, and the judge believed him.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they would,
which is crazy.
As smart as judges are supposed to be, and I don't really think they're probably that smart, a lot of them, he's going to be pulled in by the propaganda just as much as everybody else is. So, in the height of the video nasties frenzy, it's the perfect excuse. It's the perfect, what do you call it?
Scapegoat.
Yeah, the perfect scapegoat, the perfect defence in court. Oh, I'm really sorry, Your Honour, I've been corrupted by these terrible videos. Sitting there with the soppy look on your face. I'm really sorry, it was the videos. And so you're telling me nobody got raped before 1978, before I Spit in Your Grave came out? I mean, he apparently raped two women, I think, one night after the other. So he went on a little bit of a spree, blamed them. I'm sure he still did time for it, but obviously what that then did to the Video Nasties was just make it even more of this big uproar thing, because
you wouldn't want to be the judge, proceeding over the case which has millions of readers of newspapers and newspaper columnists and reporters all basically having said this guy is influenced by this smut. You don't want to be the guy to say, well, actually, there's no evidence of that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't, even if you thought this is a load of shit, there's no way the film's responsible, you can't fucking say that. You'd be fired.
Yeah.
You didn't, like, anyone would lose any kind of faith and trust in you as a judge. So, which is fucking mental. But just going back to the documentary, there's an amazing guy, and I can't remember his name, which is a shame, because it'd be nice to give him a little shout out, even though I'm sure he'll never listen to this show. But a guy that basically stood up and said, "This is nonsense. These films are not corrupting people. This is a load of bullshit." And the poor guy was fucking hounded, and he said it was a really kind of terrifying time in his life, because people were camping out outside his house and, to get stories from him. And, just because he was one of the only people that turned around and said, this is bullshit. This is nonsense. Of course, you can understand that no one's going to actually publicly turn around and say that, because at the time, you're going to be in such a minority. It's just not worth opening your mouth, even if that's what you did think.
My God, it's like, you kind of think, like, I'd like, every now and again, like, in prep for one of these shows, I just think about, like, the fact that these 72 movies became, like, 72 movies were at one point banned in this country in the space of 2 years.
Yeah.
Just completely banned, and that still blows my mind. There's a great quote from the director of Island of Death.
Okay.
Which I will put in probably after we do that review, we do the Island of Death review, where basically he talks about censorship.
Okay.
And it's a fantastic quote, and basically, what he says is censorship is, it's a new form of totalitarian state where he doesn't believe that it should be there, because all it does is prove that people are trying to control the masses by telling them what they can and can't watch, and that's not freedom. And I agree with him 100%. It's a shame he didn't make a better movie. But with that in mind, we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back. Andy's going to lead us on our first review, which is 1980's House on the Edge of the Park, which is directed by our good friend Ruggero Deodato, the man behind Cannibal Holocaust.
Yep.
And a disclaimer here: this movie and review may feature the word rape.
This whole episode.
Yeah, this whole episode. I do want to stress that. I know we're laughing and all the rest. It's really the only way we can get through this subject matter, because all three of these films have blatant on-screen rape.
Yeah.
So,
by the time we get to I Spit on Your Grave, our clear feelings will be, I think, quite apparent that we're not joking about this stuff. This is pretty brutal.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to take a break. You're going to hear a trailer for a show on the Horrorphilia Podcast Network, where you can listen to this show exclusively, followed by some wise words from learned individuals telling us why House on the Edge of Park may have been banned. And we're going to be right back to discuss that film right after this.
I'm Cootie.
And my name is X.
We're the hosts of Kiss the Goat.
Now, this has nothing to do with farming or bestiality.
In fact, there seems to be a little confusion about what Kiss the Goat is precisely about.
Well, first and foremost, it's a comedy show.
No. First and foremost, it's about devil movies, from the ridiculous to the sublime.
Right, but there's also a drinking game on every episode.
Well, yeah, okay, but there's also a news segment on each show detailing the weird battle between good and evil.
Okay, but there are also a lot of running gags.
Well, yeah, but we also answer any and all questions from our listeners, and sometimes that gets pretty deep.
But there are also terrible puns, and foul language, and a hefty dose of irreverence and lighthearted blasphemy.
There is that. Well, I think it's safe to say that there's nothing quite like Kiss the Goat anywhere else out there.
Yeah, we don't even know what it's about, and we created the damn thing.
So join us, won't you, on Kiss the Goat, exclusively on the Horrorphilia Network. We make evil fun.
Or we make fun evil. We don't know.
1980 was clearly a bumpy year of brutality for Ruggero Deodato. Not only had he released Cannibal Holocaust, the most notorious of all the video nasties, but it also directed House on the Edge of the Park, which was also banned on video. Both films were released in the UK in 1982 to a storm of controversy. Essentially, House on the Edge of the Park is a home invasion movie in which two disco-dancing serial killers run amok with a cutthroat razor in a bourgeois house party. It has to be said the theme of the home invasion movie had become extremely popular in the 1970s, particularly in Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. Some of these home invasion movies tended to be extremely brutal, though it has to be said that the body count in House on the Edge of the Park is actually relatively low. We only see 2 people on screen being killed, one of whom being the key villain Alex, played by David Hess.
And welcome back. So, first movie of the evening is, like Duncan said, it's from Ruggero Deodato from 1980, and it's House on the Edge of the Park. So, obviously, an Italian film by the same director that did Cannibal Holocaust. So, I'm kind of thinking, is this going to be Deodato meets a home invasion movie? Not really.
He made this one before. He officially made this one before Cannibal Holocaust.
Okay.
So this one took a bit longer to actually come out officially, but this one was shot. This was shot beforehand. So
okay.
Which in some respects it doesn't make any sense to me, because I would imagine if you'd made a film like Cannibal Holocaust, got the backlash of that, your next film that you did would probably be a bit more subdued in terms of subdued in terms of animal violence, which this certainly is. There's no animal violence in this movie at all. No. However, this one is like, there's certain bits in this that are just fucking horrific. I mean, like really, really horrific. And yeah, go for it, Andy. Let's get involved with this one here.
Yeah, I mean, this was released in November '82 in the UK, added to the list in July '83, so it didn't even get a year's worth before it was pulled. It's got David Hess in it, who's pretty much sort of a '70s, '80s dialer rapist, I think.
He's going to feature in next week's episode when we do Last House on the Left.
Yeah, which obviously was before this movie, but I think he kind of got to the point where if you are looking for a really kind of nasty rapist in the movie, David Hess is the go-to guy.
Hiya!
Yeah, all right, because, I mean, I've seen on the Last House on the Left special features on the 3-disc DVD you can get over here in the UK. He seems like a really nice guy. I think it's just he had that look about him and he had that presence. I mean, and to be honest, he is the only one in this movie for me who's kind of got any presence.
Yeah, I think I'll come to my theory on that. I do have a distinct theory on why everyone else seems to be devoid of any sort of
I mean, it kind of becomes clear. It kind of becomes clear at the end, sort of why that might be the case. I mean, the film opens with him just kind of cutting a woman up in the car. She's in her car, he's in his car. He kind of like cuts her off, jumps in the car with her, rapes her, and strangles her. So, I mean, I thought, to be honest, the film could have done without that. I mean, there's a really shitty twist at the end, which kind of explains why we needed to see that. But for me, it would have been better if we didn't get that opening rape, because you're not quite sure how these two guys are introduced to who's going to be the lunatic. And to be honest, out of the group of people that we end up meeting at the party, I'm not really sure who the fucking bigger weirdos are.
Well, yeah,
David Hessen is strange. His mate with a weird little voice.
Yeah, he's friends.
I mean, there's one woman at the party that looks like a fucking human man.
Looks like Grace Jones from Conan the Destroyer.
Yeah, but like, She's so fucking weird looking. If you still like, if I was her and I decided that was the look for me, I'd hang around near shop windows, just terrifying people.
Boo. The couple of things, like the woman that he rapes at the beginning is actually his wife in real life.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think because I was doing a bit of reading into this movie last week,
right?
And it turns out that in order for Deodato had decided when he wrote this movie that the rapist in question was going to be David Hess because he loved Last House on the Left, loved that movie. So he basically, to entice him to star in the role, he gave him half the rights to the film.
Okay.
And then apparently David Hess then rewrote a lot of the dialogue to make it more his movie.
Right, okay.
Which kind of makes sense because, like, Hess's performance in it, there's a lot of things that he says which, I don't know, seem quite real to that character, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, they don't sound like, when you hear some of the other characters talk, you're like, I can't believe those words are coming out your mouth. But his all sound quite, even though they're cheesy, they sound quite organic.
Yeah, he totally sounds genuine. He's actually a pretty good actor. I mean, I don't like his mate. I think he's from Cannibal Ferox, isn't he? The other one.
That's right. Yep.
From Cannibal Apocalypse as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's his voice, but he's dubbed over with the weirdest, like, cartoon villain voice.
Yeah. It's really strange. It's quite off-putting as well, actually. And I think the thing about it is that I think he decided that because they were doing the rape sequence at the beginning, they wanted to do it with someone that would be comfortable with the actions he was doing on screen, so he got his wife to do it. But apparently, he doesn't talk about it anymore.
Okay.
He doesn't like discussing it.
Right.
And yeah, like, I know you're saying that you don't think it needs to be there. To me, the movie as a whole, this is the first time you've seen it, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, this is the second time I've seen this movie. To me, it kind of, coming back and watching it a second time, and it's been a fair few years since I saw it, coming back to see it a second time, I actually had the wrong movie in mind. I thought this movie was, the one I was thinking about, I thought was Don't Go Into the House.
Okay.
And then when I was sitting down and watching, I was like, oh, this is House on the Edge of the Park. Alright, this makes a bit more sense now. So, kind of going back and watching this one again, you're right, the ending is a kind of weird, shitty justification for the rape at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I still think there's a malevolence about the plot of what is happening later on in the movie, which, I mean, this is Deodato trying to do a kind of Last House on the Left sort of thing. So basically, you've got a character who rapes someone at the beginning, in a horrible, horrible way, and then ends up, instead of randomly ending up, and we're going to give a big spoiler away here, at a relative's house of the person that is raped and murdered.
Is that deliberate? Because I'm led to believe that's deliberate.
Yeah, well, what, in Last House on the Left?
No, oh, sorry, no, in this.
Yeah, it is deliberate in this. Basically,
how did they know they were going to be there?
Right. Well, basically, what I believe, what I think has happened is, and he explains it briefly at the end, and to be honest, it's not very well explained. I would have loved a bit more explanation, but as Deodato, we're lucky we get any explanation at all. So basically, what you've got is this scenario where he rapes at the beginning this woman, yeah, in the most horrible way. And he gets let off with it. The police don't prosecute. The police, like, for whatever reason, don't arrest him, really. So the brother knows who he is. So the brother sets up this elaborate plan.
So we suppose that's all off screen, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't see that. Because basically it's seamless between he rapes her, it doesn't give you any time period. The next thing we know, he's with his mate, they're getting ready. There's this couple come in, with some sort of fake problem to do with their vehicle. They invite them back to the house for a party. These guys are very rich.
Lucky that they knew his mate would be a good mechanic and would spot the alternator wire loose.
Yeah.
Well, very fucking convenient, isn't it?
It's a movie, Andy. So they end up back at the house anyway, and instantly David Hess' character starts to dislike these people because they've got money. They're everything that he's not.
Don't think that's the only reason he dislikes them, because I fucking hated him.
Yeah,
nothing to do with the fact that they have money.
But I think I don't know how much of their way that they're acting is to antagonise him to do things, because at the end, I think they deliberately try and ridicule the guy when he's dancing. She deliberately leads him on in the shower and then leaves him in the shower without any clothes, turns him on, cock teases him and then leaves him. They deliberately cheat at poker, all these ways to basically get him in a position where he will act out violently, so when they harm him or kill him, they can claim it's self-defense, because look at them, they are rich, affluent people, and they're everything that's right with society. And look at this mean man here who was potentially done for rape earlier on, who's come out their house with his knife and tried to kill them, and they've acted in self-defense. So it's basically it's like this big game they're doing. The thing for me about it is there's a muddiness to the... Even when that explanation is given at the end as to why things have went the way they've done, I still don't then suddenly think, oh, well, that character's justified for what he's done. I don't like him. I don't like the brother. I don't like any of the people in that house at all. I hate them all equally.
That's it.
And I think that's where the movie fails on a big level for me, is at the end when that reveal should come in, I should be like, yeah, get him. It's like when you watch something like Hard Candy, right? And when you watch like a movie like Hard Candy, which I'll mention again when we come to I Spit in Your Grave, but when you watch a movie like that and you don't understand why this little girl is being so horrible to this guy who claims his innocence, until the reveal at the end when she basically comes out, and I won't spoil that because I advocate everyone checks that movie.
That works.
Yeah, and then I totally think, oh, Ellen Page, I feel for your character, and this guy, I hate this character now, and all the rest, because they've done enough of the character development, and the characters feel realistic. They don't in this movie. They kind of... It's on some level, it's almost like a weird kind of cross between Craven and Cronenberg. You know what I mean? It's like a weird cross between Shivers and Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
And that these affluent people are not nice at all. I don't feel anything for them.
No, I mean, that's what I noticed within the first 5 minutes. I thought these are not sympathetic characters. And obviously it makes sense if you watched it the second time or you knew what the ending was, why they're being such dicks. But by that point, it doesn't really matter. I don't care anymore. So I don't, do you know what I mean? I'm not bothered that that's the reason they've been dickheads. You don't all of a sudden go, oh, that's why they're dickheads. For me, I just rolled my eyes at that twist at the end because I just thought it's ridiculous. Like he beats the shit out of one guy, and it's a good half an hour, 45 minutes before the guy pulls the gun, which is obviously he's planted this gun in his house because he's planning to, like you say, make them do terrible things and then kill them in self-defense. But it's so badly executed as a plan of revenge. Like, why haven't you got the gun on you, for one? Why are you letting him rape and humiliate and beat people without doing anything? If your plan all along was to do that and then pull a gun out, where's the gun? Why have you hid it in a drawer that you can't? It just didn't make any sense to me. It almost felt like, I think it was that badly executed, it almost felt like the twist was an afterthought.
Yeah. I think, and I quite like, but on some level, I quite like the idea that this guy... I don't like the idea that he allows a lot of things to happen to everyone else. I can understand why he antagonises and gets his face smashed off things to the point so there's visible injuries. Even that wee nick that he gets in the side of his face with the open blade. I mean, you can fake that sort of thing, but the punching that him and the other male character get, I can understand that to an extent.
Yeah.
The fact that he lets like female characters be molested and raped as well,
slashed. I mean,
that doesn't compute with me. And the thing is that they appear to all be in on it, and I don't get that either. I can understand someone saying, "I will help you." I mean, if you came to me tomorrow and said, "Listen, this dude's fucking messed with my wife in a horrible way, and I'm going to get payback. Are you going to help me?" I would say as your friend, yes, I will help you. If you then said, well, all that will need to happen is you need to get beaten up and your wife will have to be raped and you have to be I'd be like, sorry, Andy. I was kind of thinking maybe I could give you an alibi.
Yeah. Or
maybe loan you a tenner or drive the car. There's you have to take a huge leap in terms of the storytelling, and I just don't quite buy it.
It's far too much of a leap. It's a canyon you're expected to leap over, and it's not happening.
Yeah.
And also the most ridiculous thing is, if your entire thing was to set up that it's you've killed them in self-defense, you can't shoot him 12 times while he's face down in the swimming pool.
You can't shoot him in the cock. That's the first thing you cannot do. That is not a self-defense shot.
Well, that's it. And if someone's laying face down in the swimming pool dead, they're no longer a threat. So you can't use the self-defense thing. Yeah. His little bullshit line at the end, it's really easy for a gun just to go off and empty the clip before it's even happened. Not from 5 or 6 different people, it isn't, you idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know forensics probably wasn't what it is today in the 80s, but I'm sure they could tell that gun was fired from multiple different angles by multiple people.
Yeah.
And I know we've probably been spoiled by stuff like CSI where you do question things like that. Do you know what I mean? Because people...
God damn you, Grissom.
Yeah, I mean, people are so forensically aware now, that kind of bullshit just doesn't wash. But for me, it's just poor. It's very fucking poor, writing and story, that.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think what Deodato, what he wanted to do, is do a home invasion movie. That's what his aim was. He wanted to do his Last House on the Left, and I think there's a lot in this movie that is, I mean, the way that's set up at the beginning with the rape, and even at the point where, I mean, that character, you see her lady parts in great detail when her clothes are being torn off her, and all the rest is very graphic, and there's something very violent about it. So that on that level is definitely there with the kind of the scenarios that you get in at the start of Last House on the Left. Where Last House on the Left differs is that the story is better told. As it makes more sense that these characters do so many horrible things, and then at the end they get their comeuppance. And this one, our character does a horrible thing at the start, and then we plod through this. Well, who's the bad guy? Because the movie almost sets up David Hess to an extent when we end up at the house and bad things start happening to him, as if Hess is the goodie, if he's the protagonist, and these people in the house are an antagonist. And I think there's a weird line that the movie doesn't seem to be able to kind of draw, where we are kind of this is a good person, this is a bad person, and I don't know how much of that is deliberate. If it is deliberate, then it should have been executed far better. Or if it is accidental, like you say, they get to the point where they're like, we need an ending to this movie. Oh well, we'll maybe tie it into the rape. We'll just say he's his brother, and this is his justification for doing it. Because that whole being related to someone, like I say, is done in Last House on the Left, which makes me think this is very much like a lot of that Italian cinema of the time is basically the Italians taking what the Americans are doing, but turning it up to 11
and pretending they haven't. Because Deodato, as the other guy did with Cannibal Ferox, Deodato said, "No, I didn't base it on Last House on the Left." Yeah,
it clearly is. It's clear. Yes,
you did.
You got the guy from Last House on the Left to do another rape in it. That to me means that you did. It's like, really. So I mean, the thing for me about this movie, the level where I think it is very effective is Hess. Hess's performance is phenomenal in this movie. His amplification of his rage and his crazed sort of rage in this movie is brilliant, because you can chart it. At the beginning, it's first he's annoyed, then he's getting slightly more annoyed, then he doesn't want his friend, he thinks his friend's been taken full of, so that upsets him, and then to the point where eventually the knife comes out, and when the knife comes out, his character becomes the most sadistic thing about this movie. And even the cold performance of the brother who shoots him and whatnot, doesn't come out like close at all to David Hess, which to me is the main reason, if any reason, to watch this movie, is to watch Hess's performance, because he is, in my opinion, one of the best villains we've seen, like clear-cut villains we've seen in a nasty thus far, because he's completely reprehensible, and there's at no point do I want anything nice to happen to him.
No,
at all.
But I will say, just going back to what I said at the beginning about not seeing him rape that woman, I think because if you'd not seen Last House on the Left and you didn't know he'd kind of been typecast as a rapist, because of how antagonistic the people in the house are, I still think it would have been a better twist at the end to find out that he'd raped that guy's sister. I don't know how they kind of would have worked it in. I mean, I'm sure it couldn't have been any worse than the way they did work the twist in. But he, I don't know. I think it would have been good to be constantly wondering who are the people who are being threatened here.
Yeah.
Because it's the kind of the yuppie rich people that are always being threatened. And I think if we hadn't have seen that initial opening rape, I think I wouldn't have been sure who's taking who for a ride here. Yeah. Who's going to suddenly turn? Have those guys lured these people into their houses because they're psychos? But obviously that's never the case because of, the opening rape scene.
Yeah. It always links back to it. Links back to that. I sent you a message, I think, posted it on the page. Within the first minute, you get a rape sequence in this movie, and that pretty much sets up this movie from then onwards.
I mean, and it is a pretty nasty rape. I mean, for me, like one of the main sort of things that I think makes it a candidate for the list is the the blurred lines between the rape and the consent, which again, it's one of them things that becomes more clear when the twist happens as to why that's the case. But there's a woman. It's the old James Bond method of seduction that we've joked about before. James Bond will come on to a woman and she will fight him off for a bit, and then eventually she'll give up. And it's a bit like that with David Hess and this woman. He's trying it on. And she's obviously done the most insane cock tease you've ever seen, soaping up your titties and that in the shower, getting someone to shower with you and then going, see ya.
Yeah.
I mean, brutal, And, but what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought.
It's the bloodlines. It's the bloodlines between.
Yeah, because he eventually ends up in bed with this woman and she's initially resisting, but then they have sex in the end. Mm-hmm. So it's that thing of, it doesn't really give a very good message that if a woman's not up for it, if you force yourself onto her and keep at it, keep persisting, eventually she'll just give up and shag you. And I think that's a really fucking dangerous kind of message to give.
Yeah.
And when the ending of the film happens, it becomes obvious kind of why that's happened. But she's up for it with him all along. I think even though she's meant to be in on it, she's clearly sexually attracted to him, and she's up for a bit of David Hess. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, the worst thing for me is just how young the girl that gets kind of humiliated, stripped, and then finally is kind of really slashed up quite badly with a cutthroat razor. Yeah. I don't know how old she's meant to be, but she's not very.
She looks young. She looks very young, and it is. To me, that's when the film takes, because there's a lot of the fight sequences are very, very goofy in this movie. they're painfully like early 70s sort of exploitation fighting.
Yeah.
Pucha! Punches miles away and all the rest. But when she comes in, the movie takes this completely sinister turn. And
you said there was some bits that quite disturbed you in this. What other bits? What apart from the rape at the beginning and the girl?
I think the rape at the beginning's on some level fairly terrifying because he barges his way into her car.
Yeah.
And I think about it now. Today, people are a bit more savvy about do not let people into your car and whatnot, but he pulls his car in front of her. He's in the car within seconds. He has her go where he wants. He has her in the boot, and it's horrible. And then the girl, the young girl, is to me that's pretty uncomfortable to watch. Because there's no the camera almost leers over her. You know what I mean? It's not shot for shock. There's almost a weird kind of sexual perversion from the from the director's point, which I find
it's titillation, and that is the thing that the BBFC have the main problem with, and that's the reason. Obviously, we'll come on to this, but that's the reason I Spit on Your Grave is still not available uncut in the UK.
Yeah,
is when it's not particularly important to the plot. They're just lingering on tits for the sake of lingering on tits, and that is actually worse apparently than showing the rape, because at least the rape is a part of the plot.
Yes.
Whereas a woman in distress and humiliated and upset, but we still get to see her boobs. Obviously that's really fucking out of order, because that is just pure exploitation, isn't it? And like I say, it's for titillation purposes.
Yeah.
And that isn't really what should be considered entertainment.
Yeah.
And like you say, it lingers on it a bit too long. When
it does. I think the camera is very leery on it, and that to me is a bit. That's quite uncomfortable. The only other thing that I find quite disturbing, I think, is Hesse's performance at times, where he's. It's that I think we've talked about it before. If we've not talked about it on air, we've certainly talked about it off air, about how the reason that I think I'm not a huge fan of home invasion, but the reason that I gravitate more towards horror movies that are more set in real life as opposed to like vampires and shit like that is that human beings do these things.
Yeah.
We're as a species, we're pretty fucking horrible.
We're fucking barbaric.
We are, and there's still a lot of people out there that, I mean, rapes happen all the time. There's a rape probably happening right now, somewhere in the world, and that's pretty terrifying. And these people just do it. They take what they want without consideration. And Hesse's performance is the kind of the epitome of all that. He's and his cycle of ideas and thoughts get more sadistic in this movie, and we hear them like as you can see them just like appear in his mind. And the next thing he's like that, well, you can pick whatever woman you want, and he's like, "Yo, you're letting me go first, and I want this woman here." And he's like that. He's like, I'll take her upstairs, and he's like, "No, do her down here so we can all see." And I'm just like, and he just seems to be, when his friend can't go through with it, go through with it, the rage that he has for that. And the contempt is, that you realise that David Hess is only out for David Hess in this movie. Yeah. The friend that he's supposed to be looking after is not really his friend. No. He's just a vehicle for entertainment for him. And there's something quite disturbing about that. I think it's his performance that sells that in the hands of maybe a lesser actor. I don't think it would have the same impact or gravitas, but I think his performance, like I say, sells this movie. It's pretty much the only reason I would say check out House on the Edge of the Park is to see and what I consider now as an iconic villain performance by Hess. I think he's excellent in this movie.
It's just the little facial expressions and stuff. He's totally in that part.
Yeah.
And he wasn't an actor, before he did Last House on the Left.
I did not know that.
He basically was a guy tried out for the role of Krug in Last House on the Left. He didn't get the part. He said, "I know who will be perfect for this." He said, "My sister's boyfriend, it'll be fucking brilliant." And the sister's boyfriend was David Hess. He came and read for the role and was given the part immediately.
Jesus.
So he'd never acted before. But I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, for me, there's something pretty mental about that. They went, "Are you looking for a rapist?" The person, the fella going out, "My sister will be brilliant for that."
It's that sort of thing where you think
if the first thing that sprung to mind when someone was after a rapist was the bloke going out on my sister, I think, hang on a minute, there's something not quite right here. But no, he popped to mind instantly. Went, "You're looking for a rapist? Brilliant. My sister's boyfriend," and he got the part, and that's kind of where it went from there. And he's basically Krug, isn't he, from Last House on the Left in this? It's just David Hess.
Yeah. I think the other thing I would say is I quite like the score about this movie as well. I think the score is, once again, it's very juxtaposed against the violence. There's some funk and disco in there as well, but there's some kind of serene music sequences that play over some terrible things that happen in this movie, which kind of evokes that Cannibal Holocaust thing again, kind of the Mondo music soundtrack over the top of the violence as well. So I think it's used really well. I think it's actually shot really well. I mean, the movie cost very, very little to make, and to be honest with you, I don't think it feels like an overtly cheap movie, other than the fact it's all shot in one location, pretty much. And I mean, I don't think I think there's some issues with the writing, certainly. That could have been fleshed out. A bit more development, I think, with the brother character, I think would have went a long way in this movie. But I still think, I mean, I can see why it's on the list. I can see why it made its way to the list. Will we grade it? Do you have anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think I'm about done. I mean, the kind of the main thing to me is that, I mean, when you kind of know what the twist is, everything that you've just watched makes a lot more sense. But for me, it doesn't make a lot more sense in a sixth sense. Oh my God, yeah, fuck, he was dead all along. And then you go back and watch it and go, oh God, look, she never really spoke to him in the restaurant and all this. When the twist happens for me, I literally just rolled my eyes and went, oh, right, okay. And it should have had a lot more impact than that. Yeah. But for me, it's bad. Like, the script is awful. I mean, again, the bad acting can be kind of justified by the fact that they're the reason that they've got them in the house. Like, nobody's reacting to the horrendous shit that's happening, and that obviously goes back to what you say, that everybody's kind of in on it, in on this game. But you know, like you said at the beginning, helping your mate out is one thing. Agreeing to be molested, humiliated, beaten, and potentially raped and murdered, no one's going to agree to that.
Yeah.
And no one's going to be able to go through with that and play the role well enough. It's just too unrealistic, even for 1980. For me, it's too laughably bad to be too disturbing. I mean, the rape at the beginning was pretty bad, I suppose, but I don't know. That was the worst thing about it. And if that rape had have happened, say after the 5 minutes of watching, you know, David Hess's character and his mate dancing and going, oh, let's boogie, let's go off and do some boogieing. Mm-hmm. It would have had a lot less impact, because all of a sudden you think, oh, this is a bit jokey than this film. It's a bit daft. It's not meant to be serious. Mm-hmm. Which then, when we get to the scene where they're kind of cutting the girl, even though that should be really horrendous, and the main problem that I've got is how young she looks, but for me, like, because the acting and the script and everything's so bad and it's got that Daft Mondo music, I didn't really find that slashing up with the girl that disturbing.
Right.
The in principle it is, but just because of how shit for me the rest of the film was in the way it was put together, I don't know, it just, like, I'd seen too much crap stuff for that to be that impactful for me, even though it should have been horrendous. And like, when you talk about it as an isolated scene, and in theory it is brutal,
yeah,
and like you say, it lingers on her and she's clearly distressed and stuff, but just because the rest of the film is so kind of jokey and I just couldn't take it seriously, like, it didn't have the impact it probably should have had. So I'm really torn on whether just to give it a slap on the wrist or a bit of community service.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like you say, once you know what the twist is, like the kind of the fact that no one's reacting to the violence does make a bit more sense. But I think it's so poorly done, it just looks like bad acting up until that point. And I think, like, you can't tell me a twist at the end of a movie that then makes me go, oh, right, the last hour and a half of terrible acting that was. It's okay. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. So I think I can only really give this a slap on the wrist. It's the high end of the slap on the wrist. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to raise my hand really high and give you a really hard slap. But it's just teetering under community service for me, just because it was just a bit too shit for me to be pulled in and disturbed. And I think maybe if I hadn't have watched I Spit on Your Grave before it, because I mean, like we've said at the beginning, if you want a fucking horrible, brutal rape scene, that's a fucking rape scene. This is just not that bad for me. It's Deodato, so I'm expecting something fucking amazing, because for me, Cannibal Holocaust is the best film we've seen so far on this list.
Would agree with that,
It's fucking brilliant. However brutal it is, and however hard to watch some of the scenes are, cinematically, it's a fucking amazing film.
So it's the best put together movie, by far.
When I saw that Deodato was doing this one, I thought, oh my god, I wasn't looking forward to it, because I immediately thought, oh my god, this is going to be horrendous. This is basically Deodato does home invasion, and I was thinking, fucking hell, like, this is going to be brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't follow through. So I think he's also kind of, there's that stigma attached because of how brutal Cannibal Holocaust was. This should have been, like, up there.
Yeah.
And I know you say you did this one first, but, you know, come on, mate, like, you pretty much released them at the same time. I don't understand how one director can go from something so brilliant to something so crap within the space of probably 12 months. So it's only getting a slap on the wrist from me. What about you?
It gets community service from me.
Okay.
I'm quite comfortable. I'm not saying it's high end community service or low end. I would say it's right in the middle of community service for me. I think, like I say, the rape sequence at the beginning is fairly brutal for the time. The shots with a younger looking girl who, I think we definitely did an age check on that. Because she does look quite young. The way that whole sequence is set out is kind of, to me, is a bit dodgy. Hesse's performance, to me, like I said before, and I'll say it again, is the reason you check out this movie. It's the And I understand, like, when I read things that say, you know, he went off and rewrote his part and all the rest, it makes sense to me because his character's the only one that really feels three-dimensional.
Natural.
But he's to me, he's the best villain we've seen out of all the movies so far. I think he's completely reprehensible, and I want, you know, the even the ludicrousness of that scene where he gets shot in the cock and he lets out this slow motion cry which goes on for about a minute, and it's funny as fuck.
It's hilarious. I mean, it's literally like he's holding a note.
Yeah.
Oh!
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But you know, his character sells things all the way up to that point with such a menace that once that happens, it kind of reminds me in some extent. See, when you watch Death Proof,
yeah,
right, and Death Proof, you know, that movie is a movie of two halves, and in the first half, Kurt Russell is just the most menacing, evil, fucking horrible character, ever, and even right up to the end, he still kind of is. But when he crawls out that car.
Oh God, no!
Yeah, or when he's been shot and he cries like a little girl. I love that movie. Fucking love that movie. But,
I do.
It's fucking brilliant. I know there's a lot of people here, but fuck you. And you know, he's like when he comes, like when he gets shot, and all of a sudden you hear him crying and all the rest, and his character becomes. You know, the whole stigma of him being this badass and this menacing killer is completely gone, and it's laughable at that point. You're laughing at the character. This movie is the same effect on me. Like when David Hess gets shot in the cock, after that, everything he does, I'm not laughing at him all the way through it. And I think that's on some level, whether or not that's deliberate or not, I think there's a bit of fucking weird genius about that. In terms of being on the list, this is difficult for me because, like I say, there is graphic rape in this. There is a woman being cut up and sexually assaulted. There is the implication of, you know, rape, whether it's... You could take it as being rape or you could take it as being consensual. These things, to me, push it very much towards that should be on the list. I think I'm going to agree with you. The execution of it, I think, is what probably pulls it down just under that needing to be on the list. I would probably say it doesn't deserve to be on the list, but it definitely needs community service. What about yourself? List or no?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the thing, like the rape and that did cause, you know, was it kind of a problem to me when I'm deciding whether I should put it on the list or not. I mean, usually I'd kind of wait until we've had a chat and then I decide, but I've got a rough idea of what I'm going to do. But just because in hindsight, like, she is totally up for it with him, so I don't think... Initially, I thought, oh, fucking hell, it's blurring the lines here between kind of rape and consent. By the time the film's finished, I don't think it's it's no longer doing that for me. So I know, and like I said before, just because of the execution of some of the scenes and just kind of the tone shift, and I know it's kind of a trait of these Mondo movies where they kind of do this. They lure you into this false sense of security, and then like something terrible happens, and then it's a bit whimsical, and there's some funky music, and then something terrible happens. But for me, it's just not executed well enough to deserve the list. So no, it doesn't.
Cool. So it was a slightly longer conversation, but I actually think this movie deserves that longer conversation. I think when you're discussing Deodato, I think you can put a bit more time into a review of his movie. And this is the second and final movie on the list. He has no more movies on the list.
No, that's it.
So yeah, from his point of view, though, both of his movies ended up on the prosecuted side, so he was doing something right or wrong. So yeah, we're going to take a short break. You're going to hear another promo for our show on Horophilia. You're going to hear some learned words talking about I Spit in Your Grave, which I will be coming back to discuss right after this break.
Well, Gary, here we are. Somehow we made it through here.
What? Where?
We're in the sequel, of course.
Sequel? What sequel?
Well, Sloppy Seconds, the movie sequel podcast. Come on, get with it.
Oh, that's right. Our podcast is exclusively about sequels, where the budget is bigger.
Well, we don't actually have a budget.
Get away from her, you bitch!
But the action's more exciting?
I don't know much about action.
Hey, you got a line?
Sure, man. Allow me, scum.
The babes are hotter?
Wait, there's babes involved?
How about some of this? So tasty and hard and firm that it just melts in your mouth.
Do the kills get gorier and more extreme?
Kills? Did we talk about this?
Never mind. So find Sloppy Seconds, the movie sequel podcast, exclusively on the Horrorphilia Network.
Because when all other podcasts are through, we're already thinking about part 2.
I Spit on Your Grave, which is a very, very bizarre movie. I was actually growing up in Birmingham when I first saw this movie. And I saw it in the Bullring, and I thought, my God, what an incredible cover. And little did I know at that time that this was one of the most, or soon to be one of the most controversial video nasties ever released here. For some reason in America in the 1970s, we had a whole slew of very controversial but significant rape and revenge movies. We're talking about films like Lipstick, Death Weekend, Ms. 45. But by far the most controversial rape and revenge film made in this decade was Meir Zarchi's debut movie, I Spit on Your Grave. We're well aware of the controversies that surround I Spit on Your Grave in the UK. It's also interesting to note that it already had a wave of controversy in the US, particularly scathing reviews from American film critic Roger Ebert, who'd called it a vile bag of garbage, a diseased and depraved product. And what had been so traumatic to Ebert were the kind of pivotal rape scenes that occupy the central part of the movie. Ebert's comments were very much overshadowed by the controversy that surrounded the film's release in Britain in the early 1980s.
Take off your clothes.
I don't like women giving me orders.
I spit on your grave. What you are about to see did happen. I spit on your grave. This woman will soon cut, chop, break, and burn 5 men beyond recognition. And there isn't a jury in this country that will convict her.
And welcome back. So this is movie review number 2 on episode number 9 of Doing the Nasty. This one up, I Spit on Your Grave from 1979, aka Day of the Woman. I prefer I Spit on Your Grave as a title. I believe he changed it later on. I think it originally got released as Day of the Woman,
okay,
and it was changed to I Spit on Your Grave, which I was doing when I was doing a bit of research on where the name came from. Apparently there's a French play called I Spit on Your Grave, but I don't know the ins and outs of what that's about. I don't know if that's rape, revenge, or whatever. You can never tell with the French. You know what I mean? Director Meir Zarchi.
Yep.
He directed the shit out of this movie, in my opinion. The synopsis for this movie is listed on the IMDb's. An aspiring writer is repeatedly gang raped, humiliated, and left for dead by 4 men whom she systematically hunts down to seek revenge. And I think that's pretty much a spot-on trailer for this movie. Now, I had been turning this over in my head all day today after watching this movie 2 nights ago, as how best to approach talking about this movie.
Okay.
It's not... I think... yeah, we could talk about the revenge on the other end of this movie at great depth, and I think that's the catharsis to this movie. I think that's, you know, certainly what kind of, you could argue maybe justifies the amount of rape at the beginning of the movie. I don't necessarily think it does. I think this movie is heavily exploitative on this rape aspect at the beginning. Now, you did a minute count. Now, I have a rough idea as being how much rape lasts in this movie. I would be interested to see how far out I am. I thought it was about 17 to 18 minutes of rape.
Okay, well, her entire ordeal, I basically started the clock when they are chasing her in the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they basically attach her boat to their boat, and then they tow her to shore, don't they? And then that's when they rape her for the first time. So from them basically towing her boat into shore to the point where she's left for dead and Matthew comes back to kill her but doesn't is 26 minutes.
Jesus
now,
Christ.
There's obviously there's you know, she's not attacked for the whole 26 minutes, but what's really kind of worse is that she's left and then she's attacked again and then she's left again and then she's attacked again when they're in her house.
Yeah.
So the actual ordeal is 26 minutes. On-screen rape's probably less than 10. But the fact that for her it's an ordeal because, and for the audience, you think she's finally got rid of these guys and then they come back and that happens twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fucking brutal. Like 26 minutes. I mean, I actually thought it was longer, to be honest. Like because I was expecting about 40 minutes in total. But believe me, like 26 minutes, it feels like about an hour when you watch it.
It does. And I mean, the only other thing I can liken it to is, you ever seen Irreversible?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a rape sequence in that goes on 20 minutes plus, and it is one of the most horrific, uncomfortable things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I've got a quick story about that. I went to France. My brother lives in France, and I went to France to stay with him for a few weeks. I'd broken my wrist, and I'd like been through a nasty breakup with someone, so I can't. They're not connected. I was going to France anyway. I broke my wrist playing squash and thought, well, fuck it. I've got a sick note from work. I'll stay in France for a bit. Anyway, so me and my brother just literally spent a few weeks just watching films, which was great. And he said, have you ever seen this? And I went, no, I've never heard of that. And he popped it on, Irreversible, and fucking hell, like that rape scene is just brutal. It's not what I needed, to be honest. I was there to cheer up. And like at one point, I went, I can't watch any more of this. I'm going to go and make a cup of tea. Right, my brother at the time lived on a bus, which is it was basically an old London school bus that he drove to France and converted it so it's like a motorhome inside.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to make a cup of tea, and basically the lounge where the telly was and the kitchen is just sectioned off by like a small wall. So I could still hear the rape in the kitchen, even though I couldn't see it. And I think hearing it was even worse. Than fucking seeing it. So yeah, I mean, I think Irreversible probably trumps it for the worst.
Oh yeah, I think it's got the worst on-screen rape ever. But
that's just, I think, of its time. It's, you know, the more modern, you know, older stuff doesn't seem to be as bad. You know, they've kind of almost perfected the art, haven't they, by Irreversible, and the French I think good at brutality anyway.
They are indeed, but when you look at what they've done in this movie in 1978, it is unlike. I mean, we have talked about on every episode of this show, and we're going to be talking about it 3 times on this show, is on-screen rape.
Yeah.
None of any of them, in my opinion. And there are still films on the list I haven't seen before. I will be surprised if any of them come close to this.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
Just how horribly disturbing it is, and it lingers on it a long time. You're saying 26 minutes. To me, that's too long. That's far too long.
Yeah.
And it's done, once again, very similar. It's a film technique. It's the same technique that we went through when we watched Cannibal Holocaust, name dropping that movie again.
Yeah.
Is our animal death there is to sell the fake human violence on the screen. And it does. Totally works. It's a psychological thing, it works. The horribleness of the rape at the start of this one is basically the vehicle to make you get behind this character, that when she does what she does to these men, we are no longer in this position where we're like, well, you know, you should just go to the police or whatever like that. We're like, no, you need to kill these people. You need to kill these people. These people will never face justice. You know, sitting in a prison cell is not justice for what these people have done to you.
No,
these people need to die.
And just to give people kind of an idea of the rape, like the first rape, I think, is quite clearly a vaginal rape.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is anal, and you can tell by the way she screams and by the way she's got blood running down her legs afterwards. To the point where then what really fucking disturbed me is later on when she thinks she's going to get raped again, she says, look, I'm really in pain, I'm hurt down there, can I use my hand instead?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, like for me, it's so fucking realistic, you know, almost bargaining with your rapist. Like, I'm like, please don't do it again down there because you've already really damaged me. Like, can I use my hand instead? And like, that's just fucking sends chills for me. Like,
it's absolutely, it's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. And like I said, there's no way. There are things that happen in this movie after this which you could maybe argue potentially put this on the Video Nasties list. I don't think anything that happens in this movie even compares to the first the first half of this movie. The first half of this movie is the most disturbing shit you're likely to have seen up to this point by 78. I mean, I dare say there'll be underground movies and stuff like that maybe had more going on, but if ever there was a movie that probably should have been banned in 1978, I Spit in Your Grave is probably that one. I think just because of it's very difficult for a director to make the case that he needs as much rape in this movie. I just think it's appalling. I've forgotten. I've seen this movie several times.
Okay.
I saw it when it first got released back in the UK after the ban in 2002. 2002, I think it was. It was working in a video store. This movie came out. I knew of it by reputation. I knew what the reputation was. I took it home and watched it that night, and I felt ill, like really, really, really ill.
Yeah.
And I foolishly told my friends about it, who then asked me if I could rent it out for them, because I got free movies at the time.
Yeah.
Which we did, and then we watched it as a group. All of us felt ill. I then saw it a couple of years later again, as part of it was like a film thing that was going on at the time.
Yeah.
I saw it again then. I've seen this movie maybe 7 or 8 times. It has been several years since I saw it, and sitting back down to watch it, I think this movie is just as powerful today as it's ever been.
Yeah.
Which is why when we go to briefly touch on the remake, you'll hear why I don't like the remake. I just think, I mean, we should touch on what she goes on to do. Basically, she goes on systematically. She cleans herself up. She gets herself back in a position where she's set out a very clear idea of what she's going to do.
Yeah.
And she seduces and ultimately murders the people that have done this to her. There's a very famous scene in which she basically chops a guy's cock off.
Yeah.
When he's in the bath, which is... I think there's something... You know how we talk about not seeing something makes it worse?
Yeah.
I think had we seen his cock be sliced off like Cannibal Holocaust, I don't think it would have the same impact as the scene, the way it's shot,
the
and
jet
just
of blood is better.
The jet of blood and then the realization of what she's done, and then his realization of what she's done is fucking chilling. It really is. I mean, I'm shivering like fucking thinking about it. And I mean, I think even the acting in this movie is actually not bad considering the style of movie it is.
Yeah.
We have this kind of simple guy who spares her life, who can't kill her, who won't kill her. And his interactions with her, I think, are really one of the more interesting aspects about the movie. And this is why I would argue the case that this movie is not just exploitation. There's good filmmaking here. There's good storytelling here. The movie's pivoted on the excessive rape at the start, but it's beyond that. There's many calls once again that this movie is completely misogynistic. I say to people that say that, you can't fucking say that, because look what the female character does.
Yeah.
It's the same people that cry that The Woman is a misogynistic movie, and I'm like, you can't fucking say that. Look what she does in the movie. It's
not misogynistic, I don't think, because it's not glorifying the rape.
It never glorifies rape. Never glorifies the rape. I have been talking a lot about this movie. I'm going to let you talk about this movie. Talk about it.
Right, I mean, it's for me, like, what's great about it is that it starts off quite innocent, because it's not immediately obvious that these guys are any kind of a threat to her. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, like, two of them look almost a bit goofy playing some game with a knife where they throw the knife into the ground and like they step in further and further with one foot, and like they fall over eventually. It's like they're just kidding around. Obviously, the main guy is just a gas attendant, and he's not particularly creepy or particularly sleazy or making like remarks to her or anything. She just kind of, pulls into town, kind of introduces herself, and she, sort of goes on her way. And I think one of the most disturbing kind of aspects of this film is that we kind of find out that the rapists all seem to really have this sense of entitlement, especially Johnny, the main character. justifies it almost to himself as, you know, you were dressed a certain way, you were walking up and down showing your legs off to me, what do you expect? You know, it's that sense of entitlement. You're an attractive lady with not many clothes on, and I'm a man, so you should, you know, you've got to expect me to rape you, haven't you? What do you expect is going to happen? You know, and it's that kind of mentality.
Scary how that's not really moved on that far in 2015.
Right, I totally don't fucking think it's moved on. In fact, I think it's far worse today, right? I think women are so sexualized in today's media that we're consciously and subconsciously programmed to think that women are literally just a piece of meat ripe for the taking. And some women argue that being, you know, appearing kind of with their tits out and everything, it's really empowering for a woman. No, it fucking isn't. It's not empowering because all you're shown to be is a pouting face and a pair of tits and an arse. There's no intelligence. There's not a person in there. We're not thought to think that these women on these billboards are people. They are just a fucking pair of tits and a pretty face. And that's even worse today. I think people almost think that they've got a right to ogle over women, shout things to women when they walk past in the street. And it's the media's fault. It's totally the media's fault. You know, like, I signed a petition the other day about these sexualised billboards of just a woman in a bikini asking are you ready for the beach? Something like that. Is your body beach ready? And I just think, like, fucking hell, it's almost like we've gone backwards as a society, you know, like as far as like the equal rights movement and things for women are concerned. It's like women are literally, and I don't know if it's like a conscious thing by the media, but yeah, women are just portrayed as just bimbos. I mean, like, music videos are fucking horrendous for that. Like, I think I'm going on a bit of a rant now, but like just music videos, like especially like rappers and like the women they have in their videos, like they're nothing more than just fucking sex objects. And
I'm seeing it. I see it just now, and we were talking about this off air. Even we've got an election coming up in this country really soon. The First Minister of Scotland, our first Minister is female.
Yeah.
And the way the media has portrayed her is pretty fucking horrible, including one image of her superimposed over Miley Cyrus from a Wrecking Ball video wearing a tartan bikini.
Okay.
You know, and I'm just like that. Would that ever would you ever see that on a male politician? Would you ever see the Prime Minister with that done to him? No.
Well, no.
So
but
why is it okay? Why is it okay?
Well, that's it. I mean, would you ever see a product, whatever product it is, advertised with a woman pouting and licking at it? Would you see a man? You'd fucking piss yourself laughing if you saw, like, I don't know, they hold up an ice cold drink. And instead of a really sexy pair of woman's lips, it's just a bloke with a moustache going to like lick at the side of the glasses, the condensation's running down. You would piss yourself laughing if it was a man because it's ludicrous. But when it's a woman doing something like that, people are so like baffled by their primitive brain, like they're so like taken over by their animal instinct. They go, oh fucking hell, look at that, woo. And it's like, well, no, mate, come on. Like, we're in fucking 2015 now. You shouldn't be being confused and baffled by an attractive woman on a poster, because if it was a man, like, it just doesn't work like that. And like you say, they wouldn't do that to a male politician.
No,
but they can get away with it with a female. It's insane.
It is. It's so insane. And I mean, if you look at, I mean, I've like heard some interviews of Camille Keaton, that you know, our victim in this movie, a very, very intelligent woman, and she understands exactly what the filmmaker was aiming to do and what the filmmaker achieved from doing in the movie. And I think that's wonderful, you know, that she understands her place in history when it comes to this movie.
Yeah.
I think those are the things that I think are quite interesting. She, like, is an intelligent lady. You know, I mean, she's not just like you say, like a pair of tits in the movie that is there for that. And I think her performance in this movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think her interactions with the simple character, I think is fantastic. It's fascinating because you generally wouldn't see that in a movie like this. You know what I mean?
No.
And I think it's quite a ballsy move to do as a director, to try and put those sort of things in, where she actually shows him on some level, you know, a bit of tenderness, and at the same time, it's not just purely for manipulation. I think she genuinely feels sorry for the character and understands that he's the reason that she's still alive.
Yeah, I think she does, and like he's the only one I kind of feel sorry for because he's a very low intelligence. I mean, I don't know if he's special needs. I don't know exactly what's supposed to be wrong with him, but he's obviously got some kind of learning difficulties where he's operating basically at the age, I'd say, of a small child in his mind.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really know what's doing. I mean, he kind of knows right from wrong because obviously he doesn't kill her. But yeah, he's the only one I kind of feel is taken for a ride. The others, like I say, it's sort of terrifying, this sense of entitlement, especially Johnny. He's obviously the brains of the bunch, isn't he? And the other two are kind of a bit lesser, well, far lesser intelligent. And then you've got Matthew, who's just basically operating at the level of a child. But like I said there, just before I went on my rant, he says, if you're going to walk around in front of me with your legs out, then I'm going to fucking rape you. And I don't know if that, because what basically happens is that the way she gets to most of the guys is that she goes on to seduce them.
Yeah.
And that's how she kind of gains their trust and gets close enough to them to be able to exact her revenge. And I think that's realistic. I was kind of torn. I was thinking, I don't know if that is realistic, that someone that you basically left for dead and raped, would you then get in the car with her thinking that she's going to have sex with you? I don't know if that just kind of reinforces just the subpar intelligence of the characters that we're dealing with. Even Johnny, who's meant to be kind of the smarter one, I don't know if he'd fall for that. I think he would. I think in this movie it kind of works. It does work that he's stupid enough to actually believe that she genuinely wants to have sex with him. What do you think about that? Does that ring kind of realistic for you?
I think it comes back to that point you were saying where I think the characters themselves look down on this woman in such a way that I think they just don't think that she has the capability for vengeance in her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think because she's a woman. Women are only good for having sex with. You know what I mean? And look how she's dressing that way because she wants me to have sex with her. Even if she says no, even if she struggles.
Yeah.
And I think she knows that as her character. I think the fact that he says that, and there's pretty much a clear statement that she knows exactly how she's going to get them back.
Yeah.
And I don't feel it's too much of a... I know what you're saying generally. I would think it's too much of a stretch.
I think today that wouldn't work.
No, definitely not.
But I think in the 78, 79 when this came out, I think, and because we've been set up to believe that these are kind of backwards, not very intelligent people, yeah, he would fall for that. He is fucking stupid enough to fall for that, because it's understandable that Matthew falls for it. But the fact that Johnny falls for it and the other guy to some extent, I think, yeah, you're a fucking pair. You're a bunch of idiots. You are totally just a fucking bunch of idiots, and they only overpower her by the sheer numbers. It's 4 against 1. And she's a woman, and it's 4 kind of relatively well-built guys. In the intelligence stakes, she fucking beats them every time. Do you know what I mean? It's like they are just these fucking dumb bastards that kind of get what's coming to them.
Oh, she's an intelligent woman as well. I mean, she comes from she's not working class as a character. She's middle class as a character. She's very well educated, and even her occupation is something which these guys don't understand. So I mean, I think that plays to her credit as her character arc as well, as that kind of fits in with that. She would be intelligent enough to think of this idea. She would be intelligent enough as a character to plan out this kind of overarching revenge story.
Yeah.
And I mean, this comes out. I mean, this does fall into the subgenre, and there's a lot of this in the 70s of the rape revenge. This is probably the most infamous one, by quite a bit, and being on the nasty list didn't necessarily hinder its reputation. If anything, it shone a giant spotlight. Like I say, and we mentioned it earlier on, there was the case with the video rapist in the UK, and how that all spanned out of it, and the newspapers ran with, I Spit in Your Grave is the video that made a man rape people because he watched it. So I mean, it's insane. It's insane, but once again, have we moved that far on? I mean, metal music is still blamed for kids doing school shootings. Violent video games are still blamed for kids acting the way they act. Violent movies are still, what I mean? Have we? I've probably not moved on at all. These are still the blame. No one looks at how people are brought up.
No.
The family environment. So I can see that. I think this movie, to me, I think and I'm kind of conscious of time and stuff like that. I think this movie to me is completely justifiable for everything that people say about, except the misogynistic thing. To me, this is a hard time movie, and it is like so deserving to be on the list. I want to fucking nail the son of a bitch into the list, so it can't be taken off.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's like you say, it totally holds up today as well. I think there's a lot of people, that ask the question when a woman's raped, well, what was she wearing? And I think, where's the fucking relevance? Like, if a guy's raped, do you go, what was he wearing? Was he muscly? Did he have a nice tan? Like, no one's asking what a bloke was wearing. And when a woman was raped, that's one of the questions people ask. And that's even a defence that people use in court. That's even a defence that a rapist will use in court is, but she was dressed in a certain way. So I think it echoes to today. Like, just, brilliantly, it totally holds up. Like, everything in the movie is relevant to today. It's not really lost any of its power. Some of the acting is a little bit ropey amongst some of the four, but the acting, I think, amongst kind of Johnny is great. Matthew is really well acted in it. She's absolutely brilliant. So I totally agree with that. I think this needs hard time. It's not as hard. It's not going to get as much time in prison as Cannibal Holocaust, I don't think, just because of the spectrum of stuff that we're...
no one died in the making of this film.
Yeah, exactly. So. I mean, it's the stuff we're kind of shown in Cannibal Holocaust. There's such a plethora of vileness in that, whereas with this, although it's a very long rape scene, although it's a very long and kind of drawn out ordeal, it's just one rape scene, but it's such a graphic and brutally realistic rape scene that alone gives it a hard time, and that alone makes it on the, it should be, it's totally on the list. This is one of the movies that the list was created for. There's probably a handful, you probably count on one hand the amount of films that should be on the list. And this is absolutely one of them. There's just one more thing I wanted to say. I thought it was funny, like, some of the characters make some fucking stupid decisions in this movie. I don't know why his mate gets in the river to save, like, after his mate, because I thought because he can't swim, but he was doing pretty well treading water.
He was treading water fine.
His mate can see that she is circling him on the boat, and obviously the main thing is that she could run you over with the boat, or she could chop you up with the outboard motor blades. His mate jumps in. His mate's alright. His mate's safe on the shore, and he comes into the water. But again, that's not unbelievable because these are idiots.
They are. The characters are morons.
And just one more funny thing at the end. She's got the worst lady run I've ever seen. At the beginning, when she first gets to the lake, before any of the horribleness has happened, she kind of realises that where she is, she's near a lake, and she goes, "Oh, lovely, I'll have a quick dip." And the way she runs to the lake, I was pissing myself. I've never seen window wiper hands.
You've not been watching enough Steven Seagal movies then. That's how Steven Seagal runs.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's how I run too. Yeah. So so that made me laugh. So a little bit of levity there. The funniest window wiper run I've ever seen. But apart from that, once that's happened, this film is you've got to set up.
There's not a lot of humour after that.
No. But the revenge is great, and I tell you what, like, when she kills him, just that little couple of second shot where you get to see of his blood-drained body and how stony grey his body is drained of blood, I think is so realistic and brilliant. Because that's something you do not see in programmes. Even modern-day programmes, bodies are not pale enough, right? Like the end of Sons of Anarchy, when we get to see Gemma's body at the house, she would be fucking grey. Right, when the blood is drained from someone's body, they are literally grey. And this is one of the only films where I've truly seen how accurate that is portrayed.
Yes.
He looks fucking drained of blood, and I think that's a brilliant little shot. It's only a couple of seconds, but you think, fucking hell, like, he's bled out there in a brutal, brutal way. So, yeah, I mean, the revenge is awesome in this, because I wasn't sure if the revenge was going to be bad enough. The ordeal that they're put her through is so terrible. I mean, the other guys don't get anywhere near as bad a deaths, but Johnny, the main guy, having your penis cut off and bleeding to death, it's got to be up there with one of the worst fucking ways to die I've ever seen.
If you're a man, that's probably one of the worst ways to die. It's because she basically she goes for the area that does the damage. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the his entitlement. You know what I mean? His weapon is what's ultimately removed. And it is I think it's the most apt killing in this movie. I just want to say that, harking back to something you said earlier on, I'm now going to run a campaign that says that Doing the Nasty podcast motto or mantra is a plethora of vileness. I think that's a great slogan for this show.
Yes.
And very, very briefly, or just like in a couple of sentences each, touch on the remake, right? Because you like the remake, and like a lot of the reasons you've justified liking the original, I don't think transfer
I like the
to
remake
at all.
No, it doesn't. I like the remake as a standalone movie. See, the remake falls down with the fact that they are vile bastards from the beginning. You know they're up to no good. I think the rape scene is just as it's fucking brutal in the remake. I think it's really well done. It's really well acted. I think it's got just as much power. Where it falls down is these guys are serial rapists who do this a lot. They're a group of people. They do this often, and obviously the killings at the end is very sore. It's a very set up movie, but for me, I enjoyed that. Like if you're comparing the remake to the original, it's fucking it comes nowhere near close. But as a kind of a good nasty, kind of brutal rape revenge with some really good inventive deaths. It's the inventive deaths that we want to see in the Friday the 13th movies. That kind of thing. It's interesting killings, some really nasty characters, and I think it's quite well acted. The remake, I think all the acting.
So the acting is actually of I would say, the characters that commit the rape are of a higher standard of acting.
Yeah, it's just that her revenge at the end for me, it's like. It's nowhere near as realistic. It's just not realistic.
Yeah. That's what I think. That's one of my. You hit the nail on the head when you keep talking about the characters and their past. To me, instantly takes me on some level out the movie. I don't think she's a really well developed character either.
No, she's not. No.
Which I think is like, if you're going to have a rape revenge movie, the focus needs to be on the strong female character. And I think they kind of drop the ball, and what I think they do is they turn a rape revenge movie into a torture porn movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's my biggest gripe with it, is like it feels like a very, especially the end sequences, the setups and all the rest, feels like I'm watching it going, am I watching Hostel now, or am I watching?
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of delves into that line where I think I Spit in Your Grave, and I'm not saying it's the most intelligent movie in the world. There's just something about how movies were made in the 70s, which is just a bit more care to something like this. It goes a long way.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would probably watch the remake again sooner than I watched the original is because for me the original is 80% disturbing, 20% entertaining, and the remake is 80% entertaining and probably 20% disturbing. So for me, if I just want to see a bit of brutality where I kind of go, yeah, he's fucking got what's coming to him, I'd stick on the remake, just because I don't have to sit through as much kind of awkwardness and, oh God, this is horrendous, before I get to the good stuff. But as a movie, the original is a fucking brilliant film. It's one of those ones that totally deserves to be on the list, but it's on the list because it's fucking believable and it's real and it's brutal, and like you say, it holds up today.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to take a very short break. We're going to come back and talk about one of the most ludicrous films on the list so far. Oh dear God Almighty! You're going to hear you're going to hear a promo for a show on the network. You're going to hear learned people talk about a really silly film. And when we return, Andy's going to kick us off talking about a Greek exploitation movie. That's something you're not going to hear often.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Island of Death right after this break.
Yeah.
Oh my God. God have mercy on our souls, Andy.
Oh yeah.
There are many mysteries in this world, and whether you believe or not believe, we gather to explore the strange and unexplained, where the paranormal is normal and nothing tastes like chicken. We are Mysterious Boom! Exclusively on the Horrorphilia network of podcasts.
Island of Death was also known as Island of Perversion. And in the trailer you're about to see, The Devils of Mykonos. Of course, it was filmed on Mykonos, and it certainly fosters the image of Greece as a place where men are men and sheep are scared. This is a very kinky movie, as you might guess. It was directed by Nico Mastorakis, who apparently wrote the script in a single week. And we have to ask, what took him so long? But I will say this, it is one of those weird little movies which is so kinky that you can see why they put it on the Nasties list. It's a nice and sleazy movie, just the way we like them.
Dieser Film wird Ihnen schlaflose Nächte bereiten. Wir warnen Sie, sie kommen. Die Teuflischen von Mykonos. Die Teuflischen von Mykonos.
Das ist dein Ende, mein Freund.
Die Teuflischen von Mykonos. Ein junges Paar zwischen Perversion und Wahnsinn glaubt, im Namen Gottes Sünder bestrafen und töten zu dürfen.
And welcome back. So this is our third movie of the evening, and a bit of levity, I think, after the bit heavy kind of previous two films that we watched. This is Island of Death. From 1976, filmed and shot in Greece, released initially in November 82 and then added to the list a year later in November 83. This is a fucking strange one. I'd made quite a lot of notes on this. We want to be brief because obviously we talked about the other far superior films for a lot longer than probably we normally would. So this one we are going to rattle through it a bit. I mean, this opens up with kind of, they're a couple. You don't really know what the connection is, but they're a couple that we get introduced to. Alarm bells are ringing straight away when the guy rings his mum so he can hear her shagging his missus.
In a telephone box.
It's a weird.
He's like, "Can you hear this, Mum?"
Oh, that's a weird. Oh Jesus! I thought, what's going on here? And then, like, I mean, the guy's obviously nuts. He goes berserk at a guy in a restaurant because he thinks he might be thinking about his missus. Mm-hmm. Then he invites him over. Come and join us, mate. And I'm thinking, right, okay, what's going on here then? He then gets annoyed at some other woman for cheating on her husband. I'm thinking, this guy's one judgmental tosser here, isn't he? Just getting livid at everyone, just getting really annoyed at people. Like, they then go to sleep, these two. We're just kind of following them around, aren't we, around this like Greek island?
Yeah.
In the morning, he tries it on with his missus, or we think is his missus. She's not up for it, so he just goes outside and shags a local goat. Now, I'd probably masturbate first. That'd be plan B. I don't know where the goat would be on my plan scale of things that I'd do if my missus wasn't up for it.
The goat doesn't. The goat is quite indifferent. Have you ever seen the Paris Hilton sex video?
Yeah.
You know how she kind of looks like she's just like filing her nails and she couldn't give a fuck. The goat's kind of in that position as well. The goat's kind of looking off to space, going, "Hopefully, I'll be finished soon. I'll get back to tuning some grass."
He's finished pretty quick, but like then he kills the goat, and I thought, why are you killing it? He's not going to tell anyone. Like, why? I don't know if he felt we need. Like, it looks like he was quite happy, to be honest. Like, so you're just thinking, I don't know what's happening with this guy. Like, you know, he's obviously a very bizarre human being that we're following around. We then kind of see him in some like weird stealth photographer mode, where he's just like stalking around the island with his camera, like he's in some kind of war zone, isn't he? Like, it's so weird. Then like he catches his missus talking to the guy that they met earlier, who told her to impress her that he was a painter. Now, he forgot to mention and decorator in that.
It's the least glamorous.
He's not an artist. Yeah, I thought, why are you telling people you're a painter? Because like you're fooling them into thinking you're an artist when you're really just a painter and decorator. Like, it's like once, right, in my job, because I.
Oh God!
He's being economical with the truth. I was in my job. I come across people that are like applying for other jobs, and one of the most amazing ones that I saw once. The job title was ceramic technician, and it was toilet cleaner. And they called it ceramic technician. I thought, oh, that is so wonderful. Like, are you going around telling people in the pub that you're now a ceramic technician when you're really just cleaning toilets? Because that's what this guy's doing. But then, like, she shags the painter guy. Like, you know, obviously, so we kind of get the impression then that these people are in this open relationship, although the fella prefers farmyard animals. At least she's going for humans. But then the husband finds out. I'm calling him a husband. We'll say at the end what he really is. It's not a husband at all, is it? He crucifies painter guy, literally, and she helps. So you think there's some kind of like mental Bonnie and Clyde sort of natural born killers type of vibe, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're just going around like seducing people, murdering them. It's a bit like Sightseers, isn't it? That
it is
a thing.
Yeah.
But obviously this came, 30 years, 40 years before that. So they're clearly fucking mental, in case you hadn't already guessed it from like watching the movie. And then we go to this amazing party of this flamboyant fella they met earlier. And I'd always wondered what happened to Mark Almond when he finished off.
I'm giving up soft sell.
Yeah,
I'm going to be in a movie
in Greece and throw parties. And then they go, right, we're going to have to kill him because he's gay. And I'm thinking, you're killing him because he's gay? You've just had sex with a goat.
Yeah.
What kind of warped principles have you got? He even says, right, the Lord punishes perversion. So homosexuality is apparently perverted, but having sex with animals is fine in this guy's crazy world.
Well, no, that's why he kills. No, that's why he kills the goat, though. In the Bible, if you sleep with an animal, the animal is punished, not the human.
What? What kind of what? That's no logic.
In the Bible, it is man must not lay down with beast, I think. But if that does happen, the beast is punished.
Well, don't they? What do you mean?
There's fucking dude.
If he does,
there are amazing. There's a really good podcast called Criminal. This is the only reason I know about this. Criminal they do like a podcast a month, and it's a series of short journalistic cases where they look into things, and they looked into a series of old court records from like the 17 and 1800s of animals being prosecuted for seducing people.
Okay.
So the animal was put on trial, like in a court.
For seducing?
For seducing people. And someone would have to defend the animal, so they would have to have like a human defending the animal and a human prosecuting the animal. It was making sexy eyes with me. But, so the animals. Because a man can be forgiven his sins, an animal can't. In the Bible, anyway. I don't believe in the mumbo jumbo. But that's why he kills the animal, I think. I think that's why. I think because basically he's going through all these taboos from the Bible, all these perversions from the Bible. So homosexuality, you die. Adultery, you die. Bestiality, the animal dies. So he's going through. This seems to be his kind of warped sensibilities.
So I didn't realise that's what he was doing, the guy. So he's going through all the perversions, is he? Is that?
Yeah, I think basically what you get in this is you get his justification, himself and his significant other, although once again we're gonna go into spoiler territory with that one, are going place to place inciting these sort of perversions in order to enact some sort of street justice on it, if that's any way to really describe it. But so that's why they killed it. I think that is the justification for the killing of the animal.
Okay.
Like I say, that's a theory. That's a theory of mine, because it would explain his holier than thou personality later on, and when it pertains to adultery and homosexuality and whatnot. His missus seems to keep having these weird dreams though.
I've noticed her orgasm face, her dream face, and her when she's killing people faces, they're all the same face.
Yeah.
she pulls the same face when she's shagging, masturbating, having a nightmare.
She keeps seeing this guy though in her dreams. Which is basically this crazed kind of bearded weird guy with his mouth open, contorted, kind of maniacally moving his head around.
Yeah.
And I'm led to believe, and I should have paid more attention last night when I was watching it. Is that the dude they bump into at the end?
Yeah, I think it is.
Right, that makes a lot more sense, because I was like, is he supposed to? Because he's looking a bit better in real life than he does in dream life.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure, but I thought it's got to be him. It's almost like a premonition, isn't it?
Yeah, so she keeps having these weird premonitions of of this guy coming after her. So anyway, sorry I cut you off. So
no, it's all right.
Death to homosexuals.
Yeah, so that, obviously we've got these weird principles. I mean, she's going around just having sex with everyone she can find, including the barmaid. He's going around having a go on the local granny. Then he decapitates her with a JCB. Then, like a weird 70s version of Bill and Ted show up. And they're weird to say the least. And then, like, she kills the lesbian who she's had a bit of action with, and then he does that like flamethrower deodorant thing on her. He used to do as a kid. That's brilliant. And then, like, I think just before that, we kind of meet their Ahab in the form of this like detective guy who's kind of tracking them down. Yep. So I get the feeling they're on the run in Greece from other horrendous crimes that they've committed. And then, like, the police are closing in, and I kind of like the music over them, like, trying to flee. I thought that was the kind of stylistically sort of the best bit of the film, which isn't saying much. And then, like you say, they bump into the guy who I think is the guy from her, like, Nightmare, and kind of take refuge with this guy. He tries to rape her. Fella wakes up and grabs his camera and just starts, like, taking photographs. And like this is just a really piss poorly executed rape scene where like he's raping her, but he's obviously still got his trousers on, so it's kind of has no impact whatsoever. And then this is really weird. Like the rapist guy beats her fella up, throws him over like a little wall, and he ends up in like a lime pit. But the next minute he's like waist deep in rocks. I don't know how you get waist deep in rocks unless you're like the duck from DuckTales that you can dive through solid objects. And it's weird because he's like shouting help, and it's almost like he's paralysed. I kept shouting at the screen, just climb out, mate. Like, they're rocks. It's not quicksand. Like, just climb out. She and the rapist are mates now, apparently, and they start shagging. And then this is kind of when we work out that this is the big twist. Spoiler alert. They're brother and sister.
Yes.
I was going to say that makes the opening scene of him ringing his mum even weirder. When we find out,
you hear that? That's me pumping your daughter, and by the way, I'm your son.
Yeah, so that's weird, isn't it? So like the ringing them, that makes the bit at the beginning of the movie even weirder that they ring both of their mums, so that she can like hear them shagging, which is just mental. But then all of a sudden she kind of turns on him when she's met. I mean, you'd think it'd be the man of her dreams that she'd met, but it's not. It's the man of her nightmare that she kind of fucks her brother off for, who she now couldn't care less for. Apparently, he's still shouting to get me out of the lime pit, and I still don't understand why he doesn't just climb out.
Is it not because his legs have been tied together?
No.
I thought he was hog tied. I thought his legs were like tied together, and when and then he was thrown over the. Maybe I picked that wrong. I thought the guy had tied his feet together and then flung him into the pit.
Oh, because I thought he was like grabbing his camera, photographing them both raping her, and then they got into a bit of a fight, and he just throws him over the wall. Maybe,
right.
Maybe he did, because it would make a lot more sense.
I thought he beat him up and then dragged him outside and then tied his feet together and then.
Well, that would make that makes a lot more sense if he's done that. And then basically, while he's in the lime pit, like shouting for help, her and the rapist guy go for round two.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, he's a bit of a stallion. We kind of pan to the guy, still can't get out of the lime pit. Her and the rapist still having sex, and then the film ends.
I was going to say he panics because the lime isn't burning him. Lime is supposed to burn you, but lime isn't burning him because it's not wet.
Yeah,
there's
and then
no
it
moisture
starts
to
raining,
it.
doesn't it?
Starts raining at the very end, and we hear his screams as we assume his flesh is being eaten away by lime. And like you say, movie ends, and we're left with this overwhelming feeling of what the fuck.
Yeah, I mean the script was written in a week for this.
Oh, that long?
Yeah, 2 days. I would have thought. So, what do you? I mean, I don't think I need to say any more than that.
It's a really weird collection of. Right, to put things into perspective, doing a wee bit of the digging here. This director actually went on to have a fairly successful career after this.
Okay.
I don't think he looks back fondly on this movie, but his principle is it made him money, and that's what he wanted. The movie made him the money to make make the movies it wanted.
It's not a boring film.
No, right from the start, this movie hits the ground running.
At
that. What did you think in terms of? I mean, we talk about all the violence in other movies. This one has Like when you watched The Cannibal Man, we complained that there was so little of the violence happening. In this movie, there's so much of it. Does so much of it make you more desensitized to it in the long run? Does it just get to the point where it's just a collection of kind of weird fucked up sequences and fucked up deaths, and as a result of the quantity of it, it doesn't have the impact?
No, I think it's more the execution again that lets it down.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was laughing a lot, and I think I'm not supposed to be. Like, I don't think I'm supposed to be cracking up at all this ridiculousness. Like, I was laughing again just reading through the notes for tonight. It's just, it could have been done well. I mean, something like Natural Born Killers is pretty relentless with its brutality. Like, we get exposed to these, continuous scenes of them doing this crazy shit, and it kind of works in that film, and that's as ridiculous. But it kind of works. It's just, for me, the execution in this, it's just a bit dumb. Like, he's just so bizarre, it's almost laughable. Like, she is clearly crazy. So it's intriguing, like, because you think, oh, this is brilliant. Like, what the fuck, who are these two people? Because they're just nutters. And, like, it is pretty brutal, like him crucifying the guy and all that sort of thing. And, like, burning someone with a, makeshift flamethrower that you've made out of a lighter and a deodorant and stuff. It should be brutal. Like, and on paper, it's brutal. But again, as with so many of the films that we watch, on paper are brutal. In reality, it's almost like a comedy for me, this. So, it's just not that brutal at all. So, I mean, if I don't know, do you want to get to grading, or have you got anything else you want to say?
I'm just going to back up exactly what you've just said. I think the execution is the big thing that lets this movie down. There are so many things in this movie that when you list out the deaths and the actions and what happens in this movie, you would think this movie is absolutely appalling. Look at all the things that happen in it. None of them are really done with any real sort of impact or talent or really good technique. That they all come across as really weird.
Yeah,
it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle where all the pieces don't fit, and that's kind of like the overall movie. And the reveal at the end that she's her sister, because I'm assuming that's supposed to be another taboo on top of the film, just feels like a really it just feels like a really shit ending, and it doesn't make sense either, because if these two are moral crusaders against people that are doing all these things, incest is one of the worst things, It's really, I don't know, it's schlocky, it's nonsense, it's entertaining as all get out. This is probably, of the three films we've talked about, this is definitely the most entertaining in terms of, it's just so much stuff happening.
Yeah.
But it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie at all. In terms of grades, it's a slap on the wrist from me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there still is death happening in there. There still is bestiality happening there. There still is incest happening there. That I can't just say, it's a case dismissed. It's not a case dismissed. Although the way it's handled is probably a case dismissed. The actual content of the movie itself probably gives it a slap on the wrists, and definitely not on the list.
No. I mean, if you told people what was in this, incest, I mean, there's a bit where they get a guy to, like, fillet a gun and then blow his brains out with it, and then, like you say, there's goat shagging and then there's slaughter they go afterwards. You think, oh my god, this is fucking brutal. But watch the film and, like, it's not. It's just, it's almost plays out like a comedy. There's so many just, like, funny scenes in this. Like, again, like we said before, it's a perfect example of someone, when they wrote this film, was thinking they were going to do something really, like, almost groundbreaking with the subjects that they were going to be touching on. But it just doesn't, it just falls short kind of in every level. And it's fairly early on. I mean, 1975, it's pretty, this is kind of one of the older films. But yeah, I think say it's 75 or 76. And it might have been shocking back then.
I don't think it was, though. I'm trying to think of it this year. I'm trying to think that Chainsaw Massacre was out by then.
Ah, true.
So was Last House on the Left's about that as well.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So yeah, I just don't think, maybe from a European market, maybe in Greece. But I don't think
they hold the goat in high regard. So no, I mean, I totally agree with you. It's not case dismissed, because there is bestiality, incest, and some quite brutal killings in it. But the execution, it just fails, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a slap on the wrist. It shouldn't have been on the list. I can totally see why people who haven't seen it think it should be. But as soon as you watch this movie, no, you'd go, oh, fucking hell, like, no, sorry, we were wrong. It shouldn't be on there. This is a bit of a joke. Obviously, Arrow are going to release this in one of the...
Well, they've released it, yeah, they released it on DVD.
Are you going to buy it?
Well, it's been out in DVD for a while from Arrow, and I have always seen it, and it's cheap. You can get it for fucking about £3 now on DVD from Arrow. And I am tempted. I'm very, very tempted to spend the money to have it on Blu-ray. And there are two reasons for this, and you can call me a fucking lunatic. The one is that Graham Humphreys is doing the alternative artwork for it.
Okay.
I love that guy. I think he's awesome. I'm now I consider the guy a friend, so yeah, I like to support my friends. The second reason, I don't know, there's like every now and again Arrow releases something that I know I probably never really watch, but for some reason I end up buying it for my collection.
Do you know what?
I don't know
the
why.
Special features would be interesting. If there's interviews with the director and stuff, I'd be interested to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I'd watch the film again.
Yeah, what we'll do is between this segment here and the next segment, I'm going to play that clip of him basically talking about censorship from his soapbox. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back after this promo break, we're going to be closing out the show right after this.
What do I think about censorship? Tough thing. I'd like to think that it doesn't exist in any country, anywhere in the world. To me, censors and the ones who appoint them are a medieval paramilitary authority which restricts expression, artistic or otherwise, and tells people, dictates to people what to watch and what not to. I am in favor of protecting children and minors from watching the inappropriate thing on video and on film. But I'm totally opposed to anyone telling adults what to watch. What happens in the UK right now with the board of film censors is, to me, totally medieval, is totalitarian, and it's stupid.
Banana Laser is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Hey, Wazell, I think we should record a new ad for Banana Laser.
Great idea, Dave. We should say that Banana Laser Horror Podcast is hosted by us and Alex.
What? I heard my name. I think we should talk about the retrospectives. They've been a pretty big hit. Fucking Friday the 13th, Saw, Halloween retrospective.
Yeah, man, I've heard people listen to that Halloween retrospective every October like it's tradition.
Yeah, you don't say. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. I do too.
You listen to your own podcast?
Yeah, our shit is that damn good.
Yeah, man, we should also say in the ad we hope to introduce horror fans to something new, whether it's a movie they haven't heard of, or look at other films in a new way.
Yeah, we could talk about our walking through the 80s specials we did when we covered the 80s movies. We could talk about rolling through the 70s.
We could talk about you doing mushrooms.
Yeah, we can. Are you writing this down?
Writing? What are you two talking about?
Yeah, and the ad should say all the technical stuff too, like you could find our show and its full archive on horrorphilia.com, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's... Oh, well, hold on. We could talk about Banana Bites, because no one else does it. It's the in-between-episodes.
Yeah, all about horror news, releases, and of course with our witty opinions and observations.
Ugh. Yeah, shit.
Perfect, man. I think that should do it. This new ad for Banana Laser is gonna be awesome.
Oh, that's what you guys are talking about. Can I be on it?
No.
Banana Laser wins every time.
And welcome back. So you've been listening to Doing the Nasty Podcast, episode number 9, where we have covered reviews of 1980's House on the Edge of the Park, 1978's I Spit on Your Grave, and 1976's Island of Death. Did you enjoy this week, Andy?
Brilliant, yeah. I mean, the films I enjoyed as well, because obviously a lot of the times it's because we really enjoy the conversations every week, but it was great to properly watch I Spit on Your Grave, because although it was brutal, it's really nice to sit and watch a fucking good film for this show, because we don't get to do it very often. And then Island of Death was just really entertaining, and even more entertaining to talk about. So I think you've got to check out I Spit on Your Grave if you've never seen it. I think it's a highly recommend. It's a tough one to stomach, and you know, you can fast forward through the rape if you want. You're not really missing out, I don't think. Obviously some people will want to experience the full thing, and I did for the sake of this show. But yeah, I think you've got to watch it. I think it's one of them ones like Cannibal Holocaust, however difficult it is to watch. I think, you know, if you're a horror fan, you need to have seen this movie because it's pivotal. It's got to be seen. I agree 100%. And next week, Andy, we're kicking the show off with another heavy hitter. I know we are, yeah. So next week it's Last House on the Left, Wes Craven, Revenge, House Invasion, Home Invasion. I've got the lovely 3-disc special edition. Ooh, sexy. We'll also be doing Love Camp 7, which I've never seen. No, but I imagine it's probably similar to Day of the Beast and the other stupid Hitler one that we watched the week. Was it Caligula reincarnated as Hitler? SS Porn Camp or whatever it is. And the last one is Madhouse, which I've also seen. Madhouse, when did I see? I saw this within the last 2 years, and I actually quite liked this movie. So, kind of looking forward to doing that. So that shall be dropping in 2 weeks' time. As always, feel free to leave us some feedback on the Facebook page. I enjoy the conversations over there. We have the usual suspects show up: Mike Murphy, Andy Clark, Jeff X Martin, Vanessa. I'm overjoyed that you're enjoying the show. 9 episodes in, we're not that far off finishing the prosecuted list. No. Then we recoup, and then we target the non-prosecuted list, which a lot of the movies on there not as offensively rapey. No, but some really good ones actually on there. Yeah, there's some fucking powerful ones in there. I get to talk about The Beyond and Inferno, which are 2 of my favourite Italian horror movies of all time. Yep. So can't fucking wait for that. So we've got a lot of stuff still coming, and just remember, leave us feedback on the Facebook page. You can leave us feedback on iTunes and the separate feed through Horophilia for Doing the Nasty Podcast. If you're enjoying it, let us know how you would grade these movies. If you've seen these movies, what are your experiences with them? When was the first time you saw I Spit in Your Grave? Have you ever seen the full uncut version? Do you fast forward through the rape bit? Are you sick of hearing us do reviews with movies with rape in them? I'm kind of feeling sick myself of them, but come back and let us know. So Andy, I believe the last 2 shows we have said that there's a big horror and little podcast about to drop. And I've still not seen it. It'll be out. Is it in our future? It should be out by the time. I basically just haven't got around to editing it down and that. Which is just my, just laziness on my part and just other things getting in the way. It'll be out soon. It'll be on the page when it drops. I'll let people know. But yeah, thanks for listening. I'm really enjoying doing this show. I think it's great. Like you say, we've had some really good feedback. And I hope people are enjoying it. It's a good opportunity to watch these films because most of them I've never seen. It's one of them things as a horror fan. I think I'm going to kind of look back on this and it'd be nice to say that I've seen every single video nasty on the list. Definitely. And obviously the listeners kind of want to join in and come on that journey with us, and that's awesome. Yeah, Andy Clark is like hardcore. I know when it comes to this. Awesome. He was a bit distraught when, for some reason, I don't know what it was, I posted the link to House by the Cemetery on YouTube. It was on YouTube in its entirety, and by the time he clicked on it, someone had discovered it and taken it down, which was a bit of a shame. Yeah. But I just want to acknowledge that our good buddy Jeff X Martin from Kiss the Goat stepped up, fixed it. Yeah, put his copy up in Dropbox. I think it's still in Dropbox. If you want to check it, it might be there for the next week or something. Mm-hmm. So it's still there if you want to check it out or download it quickly onto your PC. Alternatively, you can buy the region free Blu-ray for probably about £7 delivered on Amazon. Yeah. And that's I would advocate that. I would say buy it. Yeah, it's a great transfer. It's a lovely set. It's a 3-disc set for like £5 plus postage. So awesome. Get yourselves over to Amazon and buy it. Otherwise, just check it out on Dropbox. Thanks, Jeff, for that.
some guy, our buddy Jeff. Like I always do at the end of the show, just to remind you that you can check out some more of my stuff over at the Podcast Under the Stairs through the website podcastunderthestairs.wordpress.com, on iTunes, and also as part of Legion Podcast Network. Andy has Big Horror and Little Podcast, which you can listen to exclusively through the Legion Podcast Network as well. And remember, show some love to our brothers and sisters out there on Horrorphilia. Go and check out some of those shows. Some of those shows are completely fucking badass. Andy, would you like to say goodbye to our listeners, please?
Bye, listeners. Thanks for tuning in.
And please take care of yourselves. We're going to be back in 2 weeks' time for more nasties. So take care until then. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Nasty. Nasty.
They were called nasties, and they were nasty.
Some of the things that we've seen are so horrific.
These films not only affect young people, but I believe they affect adults as well.
An extravaganza of gory violence capable of depraving and corrupting those who watched it.
I have never seen the Video Nasty. I wouldn't. I actually don't need to see what I know is in that film.